At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us yet again today for part 2 of the Trafficking and Slavery part 2. Well, we were here last time on Saturday, and a lot of people requested that we come back because we did not even touch, they say, we did not even touch the iceberg of the topic yet. But of course, today we have to try and finish it and also look for solutions to the problem, because it's not just about giving problem out there, but it's also looking for solutions. So today with me, I have Walter, I have Sasha, I have Sheila, I have Mzee Ayub, I have Nema, and I have Reverend Wamboi, and also our governor. So I will let you introduce yourselves, guys, who you are and what you do. So I'll start with Walter, please. Thank you, Walter.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Walter Nunga. I work in the UK. I do some consultancy, but I work with the enforcement services within the transport department with one of the London councils. And I'm here on this topic that touches every one of us in one way or another. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Walter. Okay, so next I'll go to Sasha, please.
Hi, my name is Sasha Serafin Bote. I'm glad to join you guys. We are continuing with our discussion last week. We are talking about slavery in Africa. I empower the girl child of Africa because women are the most marginalized. So I hope you're going to enjoy everything that we're gonna be putting on the table.
Thank you, Sasha. Okay, next I'll go to our governor, the governor of Nairobi to be very soon.
Hello, everyone. Here is Kenneth Kaunda Ouko, the incoming governor of Nairobi 2022, because now there's a new governor until next year. Thank you for joining us once again. We look forward to having a wonderful conversation. Besides what I do here on this platform, I'm also a finance coach. So if you have any issues with finance, with money, I'm the right person to come to. Otherwise, thank you and look forward to having a good discussion.
Thank you, Governor. So next I'll go to Sheila, please. Sorry, Sheila, you're muted.
Okay, hello people. Thank you very much for your time and energy to come with us, to join us today at this day and time. We're continuing with the conversation that we started last week. So thank you very much for asking, because we are here by popular demand. That reinforces us to talk more, because we know that we are making a difference. By you just sitting there and listening, it is making a difference. And it's making a difference to the continent where our people are being enslaved and trafficked, which is the discussion we're having today. My name is Sheila Chebet, and I am a life coach. Anything that touches on life, like slavery and trafficking, that is right those are the things that I discuss. So thank you very much for your time, and hope we are going to learn from each other and arrive at these solutions together with you. Karibuni and asante.
Thank you, Sheila. Okay, next I'll go to Mzee Ayub, please. You're muted, Mzee Ayub.
Hello, I'm Ayub Mzee. I'm the founder and director of New Deal Africa. I'm also a journalist and a broadcaster. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mzee Ayub. So I'll go to Reverend Njoroge, please. Reverend, you're muted.
I'm Reverend Wamboi. I am married and I am a mother. I am based in the United States of America and have been for many, many years. I am a Family Enrichment Education Forums facilitator. Anything about family, from home, church, community, and nation, and also media, because these are major socializing agents in the lives of young people, children, and youth. Um, Thank you very much. This is my first time to be on this panel, so I'm here to learn, and I'll contribute as much as I am able to. Thank you, my fellow brothers and sisters. I'm very sorry I've been gone from Africa for so long. So if I sound like I'm in the United States, my heart is still in Africa and is still an African heart. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so our topic today. Okay, somebody has to. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Our topic today is about systematic oppression from both the government, community, and mostly like we had last week, especially from NEMA. I know I've not introduced NEMA yet. It's mostly also from our homes. So most slavery has been normalized and institutionalized, and everyone in the community has the assumption that slavery is those days when people are being taken from the boat and being beaten and being made slaves in the plantation, but that's not the case anymore. Well, today I have with me Nema, who works closely with the BME Anti-Slavery Network in the UK, and she's going to introduce herself first. And we also have panelists who are as qualified as Nema to also talk about this subject. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. So I'll start with Nema, but before she starts, I'll just let her introduce herself. And then we carry on from there. We soldier on, like we normally say, soldier on. So thank you, Nema. Oh, sorry, darling, you're mute. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lydia, and the panel. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I hope today we will have an amazing, amazing conversation. So my name is Naima Ahmed, and I think I've got a Kenyan name, Achieng.
Achieng.
Achieng, yes. So I've got a Kenyan name, Achieng. And so I'm the network manager for a BME anti-slavery network in the UK, shortly called BASNet. I hope to be sharing my views from a diaspora perspective. And then again, I hope we will be doing a comparison approach as we draw solutions for the topic from an African perspective. I'm also here to learn while sharing stats to back our conversation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So today our conversation we're taking it from the angle of child trafficking and slavery, because that's where it begins. It begins as a child, because once the mindset of a child has been destroyed and dismantled into pieces, that's how we grow thinking like that. Because I know someone like Sasha and Sheila, they are so passionate about the education system in Africa, and it starts as a child. So once you've planted a seed in a child's mind that this is the way things are supposed to be, we are trafficking you because you're being made a slave, you're being taught this, that's how it starts. And that is why today our topic is taken on the child angle. So I'll start with Nema again, because she's going to open this conversation for us. So Nema, I just want to, because I know you work closely with BME Anti-Slavery Network. So you're in a very good position to tell us more about child trafficking. Yes, we're going to associate it both in the UK and in Africa, and actually the whole world, because we have one boy who is from the United States. So it's the same thing all over globally. It's the same thing globally. So thank you, Nema.
Thank you so much, Lydia. So last week we did do a historical inference, at least to know where we are coming from, and then understand the very picture of what we are dealing with. We know this topic deals a lot with emotions. We also know that it also bothers on the family community, and then it draws into a bigger national and international conversation. Again, when we take our communities, for example, within the African context, we know that a bigger chunk of the cost is from poverty, if we should say, because poverty drives us to do so many things that in a normal circumstance we would have not. But realistically speaking, when you look at the diaspora picture, it's not necessarily a poverty issue. We have case studies where teenagers just join gangs, for example, simply because they are bored, simply because they are curious, simply because they just want to find out what exactly is going on. And by association and inference, they become vulnerable, and then they are used for so many things that they did not bargain for. So in really putting it out there, or really understanding what child trafficking is, according to the UN, child trafficking is defined as the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of a child for the purposes of exploitation. And I need to put it out there. Child trafficking is a form of child abuse. In any form, in any shape, child trafficking is a form of child abuse. And as such, as we are discussing this, we should treat it within the context of child protection. So whatever our solutions are going to be, we know that our very aim is to protect the African child. Our very aim is to protect the future of the African child, and then our generations unborn. Having said that, I just need to throw some few emphasis. I said earlier that child trafficking is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, and harboring or receipt of a child for purposes of exploitation. The most important thing, the difference between, say, any trafficking, be it an adult, and the child, is the means of consent. And we know that with a child cannot give consent because legally he or she hasn't reached the age to give actual consent of what he or she is going to be used for. And whether it's coming from a family or any other person who traffics a child at any point in time, when it becomes a legal matter in a court of legal jurisdiction, these are the very issues that are looked at the end of the day. Was there any kind of consent anyway? To where was the child? Was the child transport? Is it within the context of community? Let's take it, I don't know much of Kenya. So let me take Ghana, for example, because I'm Ghanaian. A child may be trafficked from Accra to, or say, the northern region, to Kumasi, or to Accra, the capital of Ghana. Or if I draw it back, I know the larger chunk of our audience are Kenyans, right? So a child may be trafficked from a rural area to Nairobi, in a way. That kind of transportation from one area to another is a very significant cause in our conversation, because it's not just within a community. If it's within, say, a smaller community, everybody knows. Everybody may hear of it. But in the African context will be such that did the family consent to it? And we also have case studies where family in itself, based on debt bondages, say, oh, I'm either giving my child to family A to take care of them in a way to offset my debt in that way. I hope these are very common cases. Say one family borrowed money from another family, and because they are unable to pay, they give that child out to that family to say, go and serve them, so that you'll be offsetting whatever debt that we have in that way. And because they are doing, the family is only looking at their benefit at the end of the day. They do not look at the instances of what the child is going through. The abuse, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, whatever form of abuse that a child goes through. And because the child has not reached a legal age to be able to open the mouth to say, this and this is what Auntie A, Auntie B, Auntie C did to me, they do not even take into consideration what the child went through. And this is extremely worrying, if I should say. Having said that, in that context, when we come to, say, the diaspora context, the UK looks at what they call county line drug trafficking. And that is the most worrying issue now. Why am I saying this? Children are being, for lack of a better word, children are being used by gangs to sell drugs in what's in whatever way that they want. Children are being trafficked not on international borders, but within countries, let's say European countries. For example, in UK, children are being trafficked within gangs from one area to another to sell drugs. So your child lives in London. Within a weekend, he will tell you, Mommy, I'm going to visit a friend. Because you are working 12-hour shifts and you do not have a hawk eye on your child may be in Scotland in the next day or two doing drugs without you having any clue of what your child is doing. Per the money that you earn within it, I'm just trying to draw these case studies so that it will form a bedrock for our conversation. You do not buy Gucci or any kind of luxurious products for your child, but within a short span of time, your child comes home with iPhone 12 Pro Max, 11 Pro Max. Your child comes home with expensive shoes, expensive clothing, and you are not questioning your child as to how is your child getting these things. At the end of the day, the view is that you as a parent, you are working 12-hour shift to make money, not necessarily for your children, but then for your family back home. And because of that, you are not given the right kind of parenting to be able to protect them. So if you do not give answers to your child, your children will be seeking answers from their peers, and that is extremely dangerous. And all these form significant causes to our conversation as causes of these kind of child trafficking that we deal with. I think I wouldn't blab on. I'll stop here so that others can contribute along the way. I'll be able to chip in here and there, discuss the very causes, share some few case studies, and then we will be able to get to the solutions that we are looking at. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Today I was actually watching a video that Sasha put out there about a lady in Mombasa, and that is actually happening a lot. There's no consent into all these matters, especially with children in Mombasa. They're being sold as prostitutes to the white man that visits there. So it is an issue of concern. And also here, recruiting children into gangs and trafficking them and making them slaves. And, you know, it's really, really worrying. That's why I think we, as people who have voice, and with the governor that is now going to Kenya as well, we should use our platforms and our voices to, even if we help one child, you've helped somebody. It really broke my heart today seeing that video that Sasha put up there about the girl that was in prostitution. So thank you very much, Nema, for that contribution. So I'll just go to our governor now for his contribution. Thank you, Governor Ken.
Hey, once again, thank you, Lydia, for the opportunity. And I want to take a bit of a different perspective with regards to what we are looking at here. Number one, I want to mention something that I feel is very important for us all to recognize, which to me is basically who are the perpetrators of these things and who are the people giving us solutions. If we have this mindset of slavery, if we have slaves in Africa and some of them are brought to Europe, where was the origin of this whole issue? If we do not address the origin of the issue and the exact perpetrators, we can't actually pretend to be addressing the issue because we'll just be addressing the wound from the surface, but not really looking at the deep issues. Now, number one, the interest of Europeans of the Western world or the perspective of the Western world has to be understood in context. Why do you think the Western world is involved in trying to solve the slavery issues from Africa? It's because they do not want those slaves to spill over to their country. It's not because of our interest. So anytime we're talking about this issue, we know that this slavery issue began from somewhere. And we have to also understand that if we do not address it from that root, now we are looking at, like Nema said, Nema is looking at it very well from the white people perspective, which I have to be very honest. She's looking at it from the UK perspective. But why is the UK involved in trying to avoid slavery? It's not because they're trying to help African children. That's a lie. It's because they're protecting their own interests. Because these slaves are either trafficked to Europe, and then they become a burden to the society in Europe. That's number one. Number two, we also have to realize that even right now, when we were talking about slavery, even in Libya last time, we did mention that the UN itself, which is a governmental body controlled by the West, has been contributing money to those detention centers, despite what is happening there, despite slavery that's happening there. So if we do not realize where the main issue is coming from, we have to also understand that we won't solve it. The economic situation of Africans everywhere, including here in Europe, including here in the UK where Nema is working, the gang issue is solely and squarely on the issue of poverty. The issue of poverty is solely and squarely on the issue of racism. There is no two way about it. Why do you think that someone would be bored? Do you think a child of a normal person, a normal rich Westerner would be bored to join a gang? How many of them? Very few of them. Very few of them. And even if they do, you never hear it in the media. You only hear of black gangs in the media. But why so? Why is it that only our children are getting bored? Why is it that only our children are getting to the gangs? It's because of the racism is at the center of it. And if racism is at the center of it, it means there's poverty at the center of it. And we have to address those issues from there, because if you look at it from the perspective of perpetrators, there's no way you will address the issue. At the end of the day, what drives most people to gangs, if I'm talking about the UK case, is the society in which they live in, is the environment in which they live in. And that environment that has become normal to them is normal in such a way that racism has contributed heavily into those places being segregated and discriminated against. So we have to be very open about such issues. Apart from that, we also have to look at this issue of, Nema spoke about, trafficking being a very significant thing when somebody moves, for example, from the rural area to the town. And you, Lydia, have just mentioned the issue we're having right now in the coastal region. And you, in your right word, umesema wazungu, being sold to wazungu. Mm-hmm. This is something that we have to take notice of. Why is it that slavery, whatever something so ill and so bad is happening to our society, there is somehow a foreigner involved? Mm-hmm. What is the role they are playing in all these things? So we cannot accept them to come and help us solve a situation that they created. You can't create a problem, then give us a solution. So we are now relying on their organizations, on their support, on their police to solve slavery. It's not going to happen. Slavery has to be solved from the ground, from the roots, and we do not have to even accept any ideas from the perpetrators. Now, number one way we can solve slavery, before I mention others later, is the education system has given us the slavery mentality. So if this education system is giving us the slavery mentality, it means that, first of all, it's not working for us. So you go to school, you fail to get a job, you get into the wrong groups. That's number one. So why are you going to school and failing to get a job? Because the school is not equipping you with the right skills for you to actually enter a market and make something for yourself. That's number one. So the education system in itself is already making you a slave. The education system is telling you that you have to be employed. If that employment fails, then you have to find other means. That's why we have ladies learning from Kenya heading to Middle East, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and wherever. That's why we have people in Nigeria lining to head to Italy through Libya. And that's why they're being enslaved in Libya. It's because the education system has failed. The education system did not give them an opportunity to practice or nurture skills that can help them survive in the society. There are so many opportunities in those societies, but they cannot see them. And I am among them because I went through the same system. I believe at some point I couldn't see those opportunities. I could only believe that opportunities existed outside the borders, which is not true. But even that belief itself, who came to our countries and told us that they have better land somewhere, they have better opportunities somewhere, they have better life somewhere? It's the Westerners. They told us that this country is shitty, your systems are primitive, and therefore you need to come and see our systems. Now that we are coming, they want to block us from coming and make us slaves. So we have to realize these systems and call them by the right name. The second one is religion. Religion has also contributed heavily into the issue of the slavery mentality, because we believe that savior is somewhere else. You're going to be saved by something else, but not yourself. Your savior is somewhere. Your saving grace in life lies with someone else, and that someone else doesn't look like you. There's no way we can change that if we don't change the structure, which I mean, number one is religion, and number two is education. So I'll give more of the way we can solve these issues, but let's first realize that we have to address them as they are. Let's not try and adopt the view of a perpetrator. You come and mess up my system, and then now I want to adopt your view of describing the issues I'm facing. So you want to describe what you put me through. You want to describe what I'm going through because of you. It can't happen. And I'm now relying on your money, your system, and your definition of what is happening to me for me to solve my problem. It cannot happen that way. We have to come up with our own solutions, homegrown and purely African. Number one, doing away with some of the issues that have brought us to where we are right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. So Governor says the roots of all these problems is the perpetrators, the white man, like we call them, the Oibo or the Muzungu, because everything that happens begins with them and it will end with them. So I think our voices should actually be directed to the perpetrators because they started it. So thank you very much, Governor. Okay, so I'll go to Sheila, please.
Hello, people. Thank you for this opportunity again to speak. I will start by talking about the Tom and Jerry program. I'm a teacher and I'm a writer and I'm a speaker. So in Tom and Jerry, in all the programs, Jerry was never caught. Jerry was the cat, Jerry was the rat and Tom was the cat. And the reason why Jerry was never caught is because the day Tom would catch Jerry, would have caught Jerry and ate Jerry. That is the day the game would have ended, the program would have ended. And the program needed to continue because people are making money from all the ratings and stuff. Kind of like that. These games, for as long as we are focusing on the people that cause the problem to help us to resolve the problem, it will never end. It will go on and on and on, and that's the problem. So Lydia, you mentioned something. You say we should focus on the perpetrators. No, we focus on the perpetrators to put the scope of the problem. But when it comes to the solution, the people that are oppressing, the people that are causing the problem cannot be part of the solution. I give an example. You have, let's say you have a stomachache and you can't think because your stomach is really paining, is extremely paining. Then you go to the doctor and you're given painkillers. Bear in mind, painkillers has not solved that problem. It has only treated the symptom. Your stomach paining is a symptom of something else. So that painkiller will treat the symptom, which in other words will be masking the symptom. But the problem that caused that stomachache will still be continuing, and that's why and it may end up being worse than you not taking you having taken the painkillers. In short, instead of you just taking the painkillers and stopping there, you need to probe and find out what exactly is causing this stomachache, the root cause of it. Now here, slavery is a symptom. Slavery is a symptom of a bigger problem, and the bigger problem is called white supremacy. And this white supremacy has got many other symptoms. Like Naima talked about the UK. Let me talk something about the UK, because these children do not exist in a vacuum. These children exist within a system, within a white supremacy system. And the white supremacy system is the one that is making Black people die of COVID more than everyone else, yeah? Because it is showing that systemic racism that is there, that has made Black people have poor health when it comes to what they're eating, is poor living conditions when it comes to where they're staying, poor working conditions when it comes to the work they're doing, poor economic status when it comes to how much they're being paid, poor relationships with each other as well, because when you're not in your best behavior, you cannot have good relationships. You cannot have even worthwhile relationships. So you find as a Black people, we are a broken people and we are broken by the system. The system is breaking us. We contribute to this breaking of ourselves because we buy into the system. And the system also, because it installed it in the place, we are breaking. So when we get into slavery, we are ripe for it. We are ripe for it. So it's not a matter of saying, oh, it's nothing to do with poverty. Oh, poverty is also a sign of white supremacy. And this white supremacy, as I say, has got many symptoms, of which slavery is one of them. So let us take slavery as stomachache. So instead of us saying, let us treat the ache, we have to see the cause of it. The cause of it is white supremacy. And the solution to white supremacy is only one, is for us to go back to ourselves, to stop giving into this white supremacy. Now, poverty has been mentioned. Naima said that when you look at slavery now, it's nothing to do with poverty. What we forget is that we carry the genes of our parents in us. When we are born, we get the genes and the DNA of our parents. And not only do they give us the genes, in those genes, there are also their traumas. Ancestral trauma is real. So if you're coming from a family, and this is for every Black person, a family that there's been so much pain, there's been discrimination, there's been poverty, there's been all this, you carry that within you. You will gravitate towards things like that. So you find why we are ripe for this boredom, that we say, oh, they're bored and they want to get into gangs. Huh? That is not self-preservation. That is self-harm. You're going towards harm. Why are we going towards harm? Because trauma is part and parcel of who we are as a people. And because we haven't healed those traumas, self-sabotage, us sabotaging ourselves, is something that's very normal to us because we don't feel worthy. We don't feel worthy of living lives that are pain-free. We don't feel worthy of living lives that are fulfilling because the genes that we carry within us have the memory of living substandard lives. So when we look at slavery, what I would with all my panelists today and even the people that are in this journey with us, the listeners and everyone that's listening with us, we have to know that slavery is a symptom and is a symptom of white supremacy. So as much as we are solving the problems, sometimes you have to deal with the symptoms to make you think, to give you that clarity of thought. Like when your stomach is really paining, you cannot think clearly. So sometimes you need to deal with the pain, and after the pain has subsided, you can think clearly. So yes, we can look at what measures we can put in place to stop the slavery, like the children who are being trafficked here now and then. We can look at what measures we can put in place. But at the same time, that is only treating the symptoms. We have to treat the root cause of it. And as I've said again, the root cause of it is white supremacy. Now let's talk about one last thing about treating the symptom, that is treating slavery. Children in the old African community, children just did not belong to the family. Children belonged to the community. Children did not belong to the nuclear family. That, again, is a sign of white supremacy. Because in white supremacy, in white ways of doing things, children belong to the community, to the family, to the nuclear family. For us, children belong to the community. The community here is that my child would call Lydia mom, would call Sasha mom, would call the governor uncle, would call Naima mom, would call the reverend mom. So the child, and if you saw my child anywhere, you would take care of my child. You wouldn't say, oh, that is Sheila's child. We're not caring for, we don't care. It's not anything to do with us, yeah? So our children belong to the community because we knew the children were the future of the community. We revere children. We saw them as blessings. In that manner, we didn't just harm children. We didn't just take children from one place and start mistreating them. We didn't do this. We valued children, not because they were our children, but because they were belonged to the community. They didn't have to be biologically ours. They belonged to the community. Then we lost that way of doing things and we started living this individualistic lives, which is very un-African, and it is a white supremacy way, and it is trauma, bowing down to white supremacy that took us that way. And now our children are being trafficked right under our noses, but we don't care because you know what? It's not my child. We will say, oh, it's not my child, so we continue with our business, yeah? And even when we talk like this, we're like, those children are bored. We have become very unempathetic to children. Oh, they are bored, that's why they're in gangs. Oh, they behave badly in school. If they go to prison, that's their business. We don't care, purely because we're looking at it in an individualistic manner, and individualism, again, is white supremacy. So when we look at slavery, we have to know it's not an isolated case. It is a symptom of white supremacy, and it shows us as a people, we are breaking. We are breaking at the seams. And for us, we need to have conversations like this, but look at the problem as a big problem. Like when your body is hurting. Today you're going to the doctor, oh, my tooth. Next day, my stomach. Next, my leg. No. And say, we're not going to look at isolate problems here and there. We're going to look at the whole body, kind of like an MOT of the whole body.
What's the cause?
MOT of the whole African psyche, the whole African people. Like now when we talk of COVID killing us, we talk of us being poor. We're now talking slavery, white supremacy. And we have to know the solutions come from us. What we do is we just identify that, you know what, the perpetrator is this person. No, now we don't look for them for solutions, Lydia, as you said, we look for them for solutions. No, it started with them, but it ends with us. We are the ones solving. This is our problem to solve. But we have to know who our enemy is. We have to know who's bringing us problems so that we don't go to that same person giving us problems for solutions. It can't work. This is for us, and conversations like this, where it's only us, help us get the solutions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sheila. Thank you. Okay. I just want to say thank you as well to all our viewers for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, I've seen so many people have shared. We actually 100+ sharing. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. We have some comments here. And also thank you for your contribution and participation. Everybody is actually really, really appreciated. So thank you so much. So before I can read any questions on Facebook, I'll go to Walter. After Walter, then I'll take some few questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Just to echo what Sheila just said, if you look at the issue of white supremacy, I'll just give a quick example of what has just happened or is happening currently in Uganda with the election. We've gone through a process, or they're going through a process. And if you look at it, the people are being killed with bullets which have been made with materials and elements which are from Africa. They use aluminium, steel, metal, and plastics, which are not from the Western world, but we provide those as raw materials. And then we're coming back to kill our own people in an election where they have a freedom of choice, a freedom of making selecting who they want. Now, the images, why I got Uganda, because it's the images which are going around of a child who saw the mother, being violated by the police. What kind of image is this, presented? If you go back to the US a few weeks ago, the police have so much artillery, but they never used it on their own people. So why are we going there? Why are we doing this? Why are we hurting our own people? Why? Right? If you look at poverty comes in different ways. Neymar talked of debt bondage, where people are going to trafficking, and poverty through things such as political instability. Which countries are making us to be to have political instability in Africa? They're not. It's not within Africa, an African country fighting another one. It's the foreign countries coming back and destabilizing the African continent. Why are they doing this? To gain from us. In what way? Through slavery. How are they getting through slavery? One is mental slavery, trafficking, through elements such as poverty and making us poor, and having people where people now lose faith and hope in our own African continent. If you look at America in 1977, it was the same place with Africa, but now it's a superpower. Why can't we be a superpower ourselves? We have the material, we are the richest. Africa is the richest continent with everything that the raw materials are used. Have a look around you right now and tell me what you don't have, which is from Africa. It has a byproduct of the raw materials of Africa. And through doing things that we're doing now and talking and impacting our communities, let us address the issue and come back with a solution. Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you, Walter, for that contribution. Okay, so just to read some comments from people here, and I know Sheila and Ken, they're always quick to help me answering questions and to make people feel that we are actually together in this. So somebody say Tom and Jerry, but most of the blacks got no idea. Okay, Tom and Jerry, but most blacks got no idea. And of course, somebody said I'm watching all the way from Holland, but also slavery is caused by poverty, right? Somebody asked a question, and thank you, I think, Ken, for answering that. And somebody also said most Africans practice witchcraft and are not succeeding because of that. Then they keep blaming our leaders or white people. Go pray and act, and you will see God will lift you up. The Black society is always blaming something. And somebody actually commented on Ayub, Ayub, you're chatting with somebody. I don't know what that is all about. Okay, and someone said they always keep complaining about African population, saying Africans should depopulated, saying Africans should be depopulated. Who really needs the other? Yeah, I agree with you there. They actually need us more because we have all the resources, just like Walter mentioned there. And Nema also just made a statement there. I drew in reference between two contents, the African content and the diaspora content. A major cause of child trafficking and child slavery in general is extreme poverty. We are our own enemies. Most people, it's their own background that has caused them to go through what they are going through. I really like this because there's so much of mixed ideas here. Mixed ideologies, which is good. And that's why I love when people comment, because then we can see how other people also view this. Africans are enemies of themselves. In US, we didn't see police shooting people. In fact, you can't even identify who your enemy is. Fakeness is on high rate. The fear in African community keeps fueling their powers to oppression. Okay, so I'll stop there. Okay, Ken, it started with us. Okay, Ken, oh, this one is just to Ken. It started with us and our mindset. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. For viewers, we'll come back later and talk about the rest. Now I'll go to Sasha, please. All the way from Zanzibar. You can see her background. She's enjoying. I hate her right now for that.
Yes, so I like what Sheila has said. All this, we have to look at the root cause of our problems, you know, and all this goes right back to white supremacy. Like she said last time, we have to start calling these things by names. If we have corrupt leaders, we have to stop using the name corruption. We have to call them thugs. That is the first way we are going to be able to deal with these situations. What happens with white supremacy? They have dismantled us so much through the system that we are so broken that all we know is to break. Last time Neema spoke about how slavery starts from the household, from the house helps. And it goes on like that, like that. You will see that if for example, let's say if I'm married and my mother-in-law was mistreating me in some way, I will carry this. That is what Sheila is saying. It's a trauma that continues and continues. And we have to know ways to fight these things from the root cause. When these white supremacists came and dismantled our power, they dismantled the Black power by dividing us through borders, through xenophobia, through tribalism. And then we accepted this. And they say in Swahili, muacha mila ni mtumwa. If you abandon your traditions and cultures, you are definitely going to be a slave. So, and what are the results of being a slave? The results of being a slave is self-genocide. What is self-genocide? Self-genocide is like what happens in my country, Kenya, after every elections, that a politician who is getting his power by bringing destruction into our land because he lays with the oppressor, if he stands there and today he says, we are going to fight this tribe, you go and you start fighting your neighbor who you have been living with so well, who you have been calling when you have problems. You go and you start killing them. That is self-genocide. So for us to be able to fight all these things, for us to go and reach to the point that our children are being trafficked. Sometimes it's not even children who are being trafficked. We have seen how many people have died in the Mediterranean Sea. People who are grown-ups, some of them went there with their own money, only to reach there and find out that the money is gone. They are desperate, they have nothing. Those European governments do not want them because they are a burden to their countries. They don't have money to come back home, so they end up falling into slavery. So how are we going to eliminate these things? It is through educating our people. And like I said last time, not the colonial education system, like the one I received in Kenya 844, which has never served me. I have never worked in any government institutions in Kenya. And most of the courses I did, I had been promised such jobs. Everything I am doing is through skills, through my hands, through my two hands. So we are going to start educating our people to focus on their skills, to focus on their talents. Because when someone is poor, they become very, very vulnerable. They become very, very vulnerable, and that's how people start abusing them. If I'm coming from a very poor family, probably my parents were only able to educate me. They are looking up to me probably to get a good job, or back then they were not teaching us about starting business. We were being told you study hard to get a good job. So if someone comes and lies to me that if I go to Saudi Arabia, they will help me to get a good job, I am desperate enough to go, only for me to reach there and find out that I was misled. The money is gone and now I'm a slave and I can't even come back home. Sometimes you just have to persevere, because also when you go there, people think that now you're making money. So there's that part of the embarrassment that will force me to do things there because I don't want to come back home and people laugh at me. So how can we eliminate this? From the root cause. When you see, like, if now many families in our countries all over Africa, at least we have someone in the diaspora, or we still have people who are trying to go to European nations. How a lot of people have they have applied for visas that were denied. That visa is $200. $200 is enough to start a small business in Kenya. But like Ken said, they planted things in our heads. They gave us distraction to see that which is here. For me to think that if I go and buy seeds and plow my dad's land, I will make money out of this 200. I've already been programmed to know that that is a job for the dirty people. That is a job for people who never went to school. While that money is enough to start a small business for me, which can grow in due time, instead of me paying that money and being denied a visa. I know of people who are paid for visas that's more than 200. Some go, it depends on the kind of visa you're going to. Like if you're going to the UK, it starts from 200 all the way to $300, you know. That is money enough to start a small business. Back in the day, when I finished college, I was buying cabbages from Kinangop and bringing them to Nairobi, and I started making money, and I was making good money. So these are the things that we need to start teaching our people, because these people, they came and distracted us with their cultures, their traditions, their education. We started focusing on their lands only to reach there and get disappointed. You reach to America with you're a doctor. You have a degree from Kenya. You reach in America, you have to clean toilets because they don't even recognize that degree. So you wasted those 4 years that you went to study there, while you could have stayed at home. That money that you are using every year to go for visas and you're being denied, that money you could have done something. Forget about, you know, also we have those our heads are, they've taught us pride and greed. So because now I am a doctor, I cannot, you know, I don't want my nails to be dirty. Those degrees, you can put that degree aside, do what is working for you, and eventually you will even become an employer and employ other people, open farms. This is the things that we need to start teaching our people. Otherwise, we will come here, do these debates. We will go to government. I was supposed to go for a conference in Nairobi in December. It was canceled because of COVID. It was with the people from the diaspora. They were meeting with some Kenyan officials because they wanted to come and invest here. These are some of the things that I wanted to speak about. Because like I said last time, in Tanzania, I've seen people grow. Because here people, they don't plant in their heads about, you know, I'm special because I have a PhD. I'm special because I went to this school. No. Here there's a lot of humility. And that's why you see, even someone who doesn't have formal education in Tanzania is not struggling with their daily bread. They will take a cut, they will go and sell mangoes there proudly. In Nairobi, if I was to do that, I will hide because I don't know if who is seeing me, what they are going to say. We have to drop some of these things. We have to drop some of these mental chains because they are not helping us. In fact, they are helping us to be enslaved double.
Thank you. Thank you, Sasha, for your contribution. Okay, so I'll go to Mzee Ayub before I can go again and start reading, because there's a lot of people who are, it's a very good debate on Facebook of agreeing and disagreeing, which is nice. Okay, somebody has their thing on, another gadget that needs to be turned off because I can hear myself. Okay, thank you so much, Mzee Ayub. Over to you.
No, thank you, Sister Lydia Oled, for giving us this opportunity to congregate and talk about this sensitive topic. And I want to thank our viewers who are watching us out there. I want to kickstart my conversation from picking points from two honorable ladies, that is Mbote and Chebet. You said so many things that have attracted my attention, but I wanted, for the purpose of our viewers who are watching this program, you are reminding me of a period I went some years back to interview Archbishop Gilbert Deya. And they gave me a very interesting book. I don't know whether it's still out there. It was called The Generation Sins. It's a very good book, which I could strongly suggest people to go and read. It's written by Gilbert Deya, and it has got a lot of points that you have just touched today, and that's what I wanted to say. Then I come back to my brother, the...
Okay.
There is an echo.
Can you mute
coming.
yourself, please?
I'm coming to the governor. The governor spoke about religion, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because I wanted to change, to look at this topic from another perspective, the other side of the coin. It's not all doom and gloom. When you look at our history, our religious history, you must see that trafficking and slavery has also produced good people, good prophets. For example, I'll touch our Lord Jesus Christ was born under slavery, I could say so, because by then Bethlehem was under the rule of the Romans. But he went on to become a very good prophet who taught religion and the good things that we are enjoying and practicing now. Look at Prophet Joseph. He was ditched by his brethren into somewhere in the jungle and was picked by, he was trafficked into Egypt, I think. But he went on to become a very good man and a very good prophet of God. Then we look at Moses, the real deal. Moses was brought up in captivity in Egypt, but he went up and grew a man who changed the status quo of slavery and all that. When I come back to Islam, there is a lady called Barakat. This lady Barakat was a slave who was born into the Prophet Muhammad's family. I mean, who grew up as a slave in the Prophet Muhammad's family. But she went on and became the godmother of Prophet Muhammad, because by then the Arabs had their culture. When you give birth to a child, you have to look for somebody else to breastfeed that child. And it was that slave who breastfeeded the prophet. So why I'm bringing all this here is that I'm trying to jog or to challenge our viewers watching out there to look at slavery and trafficking from a positive point of view, and we see how we are going to balance the scales. I rest my case. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mzee Ayub. I can see a lot of people there laughing. I have Sheila, I have Ken shaking his head, but I'm not going to go to them yet because those two can take the whole hour that we have left. Okay, thank you very much. So before I go to Reverend, I'll just read some stuff here again and say thank you to all our viewers. Know that we are with you. We are not here and you're there. We are together. And that's why I read what you're writing for you to know that we can actually see what you're saying and we are together. So someone said, what causes corruption in leaders? Who is to blame? Why do you keep voting the same leaders back? I'll ask that to actually Ken to answer that later because he's our governor, coming in governor. And I wish we had a platform for politics and we ask him why, what does he even think that he can change that we've not seen before? Or he would join them and become like them. So that's the question I'll direct it to Ken. What causes corruption in leaders? Who is to blame? Why do we keep voting the same leaders again? African continent is the richest when it comes to mineral resources, agricultural products, etc. If we call the leaders tags, then what do we call society? Don't blame no leader if we cannot unite even with our own blood brothers and sisters. We should not blame anybody. Native Africans should learn to accept themselves and be ready to face the rest of the world. And Susan just answered what Susie just answered what Miriam asked about calling leaders tags. And we're going very, thank you, Sheila. And somebody said white supremacy should be put aside in East. It is the Arabs and Africans who engaged in slavery. Today, it is relatives who are trafficking their own relatives. Somebody answered that to say perfect. And then somebody said our ancestors engaged in witchcraft and opened legal doors for the enemy to bring evil in our lives. If you follow your bloodline carefully, okay, wait. This is a long one. Okay. If you follow your bloodline carefully, you realize that as the generational curses brought about by this association bring about evil in the form of delays and stagnation in life, frustration, financial droughts, oppression, among many others, negative experiences. If these curses are not broken, they will keep moving from one generation to the next. Life is spiritual. That's what somebody say. I'm not reading what you've answered, Sheila and Ken. And somebody said, and if so, Sasha, why is Tanzania? Okay, I need to see what Sasha said for this person to ask this question. Okay, very true. It goes deeper. Why people brought Christianity to our nation? That is why most whites are prospering. Okay. And somebody's asking Sasha, if Sasha thinks that Tanzania is that great, I think, I'm just assuming because that's what she always mentions. Why is it the fourth poorest in the world? So Sasha, I'll need you to answer that as well. And then, okay. All right. And then, okay, I'll read the rest later as well. I will stop there and I'll read the rest later after Reverend Njoroge. Reverend, after we've had Reverends, and I know Ken has 2 questions to answer. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lydia and the panelists. I am most impressed, but I'm going to go back to what Naima said. First of all, about sexual trafficking of young people and children. I'm going to skip the historical perspective by reading a scripture from Lamentations chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. It says, our ancestors did wrong or sinned, and we bear their iniquities, or we bear the backlash of whatever happened. And I'm not saying that Africans sinned, because I have argued that with my theological teacher, that if Africans sinned, when we get converted, do we become white? Do we change from Africa to something else? But I'm here and I hear the sentiments of everyone, and I realize I am speaking in that white man's language and understanding, and it has brought us together. I can't go back. There's something we call in counseling, which is my discipline, brief solution focused therapies. And actually we did away with psychoanalysis because it was taking us so far back that sometimes it's almost impossible to repair the damages. So we ask, here we are in 2021, what can we do to salvage our young people, our children? So I'm going to take the perspective that Naima took. Number 1, sexual trafficking of children and minors is a crime. Number 2, a young person before in the United States of America, a young person that is below the age of 18. And I know sometimes Georgia makes concession for 16 and 17, but I'm going to stand with 18 years old. That is someone who has not finished high school. They cannot consent to their parents, to their teachers, and to their community. And I speak as a mother who have had 2 children. One was born in Africa and one was born in America. So I have always had these 3 subcultures in my home. I'm going to say that a young person cannot consent to be trafficked, and it is a crime that should be punishable by law. Beginning point, anywhere in the globe. We are supposed to protect our youth, to protect our tomorrow today, not tomorrow. Today is the appropriate moment to seek and see what we can do concerning our young people. I'm so grateful because you and I, when we were their age, we could not speak like this because nobody would hear and listen to us. So I'm very grateful that we can come through this one. This is something that we have to learn. Sometimes you have to grow up in the system to make sure you know what makes it tick, and you get into it. And like the economists say, maybe you poison it. And the next time the circle comes around, you can have some things done. So that's where I'm coming from. It is a problem here in the USA, especially among immigrants. They don't even know. It could be house to house, home to home, neighbor to neighbor. The few incidences we have for African immigrants have been within the confinement of the home. Okay, because home is supposed to be a place of shelter, but mother and father from Africa we are busy making a living, investing in Kenya, buying property around the world. I table that we should invest directly into the lives of our children and youth. And when they are my age, they can invest for themselves. My parents died immediately I arrived in the USA more than 30 years ago. My father passed away. I have had to educate myself, pay my way through school, through undergraduate and graduate school. And my final degree is in child and family studies. So I stand here as an advocate for family, and especially the population I work with is children and adolescents. Those formative years when they are being recruited for gangs. Let me tell you, the problem we have in Georgia in sex trafficking is so bad. We call it the modern drug. Because you know what? You can buy a joint. Somebody can join one joint for certain amounts of shillings, dollars, or whatever currency you use. But for sex trafficking, you can buy that person not one time, not two times, not three times, but many times over, week, month, years. So it is so wrong. It should be criminalized. And if you should know, be the ear in your community. We say in Africa, it takes the village to raise a child. The village has changed, but the villagers still have eyes. Get to know your new body, your villager. I live in a predominantly kind of suburban place here, and my neighbor is Caucasian. When my son was a youth, and I wouldn't be there because I preach also the gospel, I gave her my phone number. We exchanged phone numbers. And I told her, if you should see anything happening in my home when I'm gone, call me. But then we sat down as a family and I told my son, my neighbor there, she has your phone, my phone, and your dad's phone. And also, should something happen to you when we are not home, you can reach to your neighbor. This is my new village because I've been gone away from Africa. So we are here to protect the children. In diaspora, it has a specific time when evil is happening. And I have spoken and spoken until I cannot turn pink and right, until people almost predictably can finish the next sentence. It happens between these hours, mark my words, between 3:30 p.m. of any day and 8 p.m. at night. Tell me what's happening. Where are the parents? They are all at work. Yes, we can work, but can we make concession for the children? Lack of supervision for teenagers is a composition and makeup for trouble. You leave, they're not bored. There is no structure. They have nothing to do after school. So they are going to be recruited. I have followed, by the way, I've been a school bus driver. That's an added to me. And then when as a counselor, I followed the school bus driver one day out of curiosity. And I found that grown-up people can also follow the school bus when parents are not around. And they chase after the young people. Where are the parents in the village? We got to work, but we also have to be responsible for the supervision of teenagers is key. We used to say, and I believe it's still the same, that an idle mind is the workshop of the devil. It still is. Children are being recruited for gang activities as early as 8 years old. That is someone in middle school. It blows my mind. I've worked with pre-K children, 4 years to 18 years old in a public school system here in the state of Georgia. And I'm accurately saying we must have rules, yes. We must have structure, yes. But we must be there. We must be like the policemen. If in Georgia they say speed limit on I-75, which is a huge highway connecting east to the north, and it's very known for sexual trafficking because, like you said, in your counties, the states have no boundaries. Nobody cheats. You just see a board saying you are now entering Georgia, you are now entering Tennessee, you are entering Kentucky. So these major highways are known for sexual trafficking of young people. So we need to be there. And as I finish, we have to be responsible. Young children require 24-hour coverage. Who is with your child? So let's be like the traffic cop. If the speed limit on I-75 north is 70 miles an hour, and you never send a policeman there to slow down motorists, I used to run in Kenya. I used to want to be a safari rally driver, and I was actually practicing in the USA. I got so many tickets I had to slow down to cruise. If the police is not there giving people tickets, I'm telling you, people are flying on the highway. It's the same with our young children. If we are not there, if we are not the eyes and the ears and the mind, we can get all the education we want. But if we don't put it to practice, we are going to lose a generation. And I agree. If we can save one girl, and now even one boy, especially boys in the USA, are targeted. They're like the endangered species. It's no longer an animal. It's a person who looks like me. And that breaks my heart. I have been a mother of a son, a black son, and actually he has died through mysterious circumstances that the police cannot investigate. And they know about it. I talk about very openly. Yeah, but I like to tell people I no longer am planning to buy a gun and blow anybody's brain out because I don't know who I would. But suffice it to say, I have been a mother of a black child, a black man. And when I say black people are like an endangered species, it's also because I've also worked in the public school system where young men are predominantly targeted, as it were, for who they are. And someone here said right. We need young solution. We need young men to get into the school, public school system to be role models for our boys and our girls. We see women from the cradle. The next time we see a man is in college, the damage has already been done. And this applies specifically to African American as well as to immigrants from Africa. Sometimes I call ourselves AAA, African Americans. And I say, I am the mama of those black people because we came from the homeland. I just came to check here what has happened to the other generation, and I found oppression. And I say, it must stop, but the stopping must start with me. I'm an educator, by the way, and I speak a lot when I'm not on the pulpit. Church, I am not going to attack the church because I am a part of it for over 100 years. My family's history is recorded to the fifth generation. So I cannot attack the church. I've grown into it. My grandfather was a minister of the gospel. But the only thing I pick on the church with, and they know it's no secret, that's why I'm an evangelist. I have my own platform, is the church is mostly silent about sexual trafficking of young men and women. These issues, I'm very grateful for a platform like this where everyone can tune in and we can begin to talk and find solutions. Men and women, please let us take care of this generation. If we got saved and here we are to talk, believe it, if we bring our energies together, one person, if not two, a generation, you'll be saved. I'm optimistic.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reverend, for that. Okay, so just going to saying thank you again to our viewers. Please continue with the sharing. Continue with your comments as well. Likes, very important. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for sharing. Share. Let's bring everybody here to listen. Okay, now I'm going to read this before it's an open, I would like people to answer questions, and the question that I gave Ken as well. And I know Nema also have a question to ask in regards. So Sasha, you are right. In Kenya, a diplomat holder cannot sell eggs or sweets on the streets. They cannot even do small scale farming. They are extra proud and they prefer sitting back home begging or engaging in cheap alcoholism. In Tanzania, job is job. They never choose whether landed or not. By the way, in Tanzania, you can't see people going to other countries to work. But as Kenyans, we are going everywhere because others have given up. And also poverty can cause to go to other countries. Also in Kenya nowadays, it's very difficult to see the work. How can we do? Because even the government, they don't have jobs if maybe you are not educated. So you need to be educated to get a job in Kenya, so they say. And okay, that one is Sasha who replied. I'm not reading. What if Africa gets rid of all borders? Isn't that an achievement for Africa? Okay. Okay, Caroline, because Kenyans are so focused, Kenyans have built their country, and that's why they also come here to UK to build their nation. Tanzanians don't aim high, and they call that humility. Okay. Okay, Sasha, I hope you're taking those notes. All right, okay. Okay, and then somebody also said that in Africa, you get a man who is so poor, but yet they want to marry 6 wives. How is that? Maybe I'll let Walter answer that. Okay, it's very difficult nowadays, not like before where our grandparents were married many wives. Nowadays, even one you can see, man cannot handle. Okay, brilliant. It takes a village to raise a child. Okay, by the way, Lydia, we need this talk for long time because it will help society. Whether you will do it monthly for a year, please do, because society will benefit a lot. Okay, that's to the panelists really, not even me, because I'm not the one contributing. And somebody said, Dr. Reverend, you're really right. That is so true. As a psychiatrist and a researcher, we are finding these kids who have no strong bonds with their parents are the ones vulnerable for crime, drugs and sex exploitation, and mental health issues. Okay, and that is what I call tumor. There's a saying that says, once bitten, twice shy, but I feel it has all to do with fear, not greed. We have a constitution, but we can't practice our rights. Our voices are ignored. When you speak up, you magically disappear. And that could be one reason as to why Africans, okay, that could be one reason as to why, okay, I think I lost that. I don't even know where it went. Okay, as to why Africans keep voting for the same corrupt leaders. Okay, that is it. Even when you're educated in Kenya, it is all about connection. That is, that she knows him or he knows her. It's not anymore to do with your qualifications. We are drowning as a nation just because just because power is misused. Okay, I'll stop there again. Okay, so I'll go to Nema. Nema, please, if you can ask your question.
Thank you, Lydia. I think I raised the point and in a form of a question, because my worry is only one, because the problem that we are dealing with is from so many angles, so many facets. And if we keep drawing all these white supremacy emotions, I get a little bit confused, because at the moment, the picture that we are looking at is we have our young girls and children going to Saudi. No one is putting a gun to their head to go to Saudi. It's their own I don't want to get it wrong. Not necessarily their own kind of conviction, but then there are underlying problems to it. So when we keep coming back to white supremacy this, white supremacy that, I really, really want to draw the inference. And that was my question. I wanted us to draw that kind of link in this modern age and time. I'll give a background to this. Right now on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all these kind of platforms, you have celebrities showing things that they do not even own. And these are role models that we have. So young girls, children out there, this is what they perceive as luxury. This is what they perceive as success. Things that they do not own, things that they do not have. So the underlying question is, no matter what, I need to have this. Even when I do not have a concrete job, even when I do not have the concrete skill to be able to acquire all these kind of luxurious things, right? So any kind of minute opportunity, when it's thrown at them, they will go. And then at the center of it, then is the exploitation of these Stockholm syndrome, that even when they are caught, there is that kind of relationship bondage that they are not even able to blame anyone. Oh, this auntie was trying to do to help me out there. It's not like that. This auntie was trying to help. Even when there is a clear case of abuse, in all these kind of convictions. So I get extremely worried when we keep drawing that emotional angle of white supremacy. I'm not rubbishing it in any way. I do, and I really, really understand it from that angle. But I think we need to draw that kind of line and then paint a very clear picture, very, very clear picture to our kids out there, so that they'll be able to make these informed choices. Those who are going to Qatar, those who are going to UAE, those who are going to all these countries. Lydia, on television, we have people who are telling them the dangers. When you go, this is what is happening. Sasha, I think Sasha shared a very worrying picture of a madam throwing someone from the house. She shared it on her social media pages. At that time, I wasn't following Sasha. Probably people saw it. They know the dangers out there. And still they are trooping to these places to be house girls, to be all these kind of things, no matter the danger. What has white supremacy got to do with what are girls going through at this point in time? If we are not really telling them the dangers, that when you go, this is what is going to happen, fine, I don't know. This is my confusion and I need an answer, maybe.
Okay. Thank you. So I can see Sheila's hands up. So Sheila, did you, I think Ken wanted to answer that. Let Ken say something first, Sheila, because Ken had his hands up before.
Where to start?
And Ken, as a politician, please don't take long because we're running out of time.
So, I think this discussion there's a problem with this discussion because of the way we view it. And the problem with the way we view it is we view it so narrowly. We view this discussion so narrowly, and we want to be kept in a track. And this is a problem we've had everywhere. This is a problem we've had in religion, in education, in jobs. We want to be kept in a particular track. You have to stick within this track. If you don't stick here, you're gonna fall off. And we can't view it like that. If we deal with a problem that is multifaceted, we have to look at it in a multifaceted manner. We have to look at it from all manner of ways. Now, just to answer directly, Neema, the reason why we had to discuss this is because we have to put a problem where it is before you start discussing it. You can't, I'm telling you the truth, and I've said this more than 100 times everywhere I go. There is nowhere Africa is going to. There's nothing going to change in Africa, including this slavery we're talking about, if we do not address the root cause of the problem. You will have all these organizations, Neema. Yes. You will deal with these policemen in UK, Neema. You will leave them here. You will leave this slavery still here. I can tell you that for a fact. And I wish one day we meet and talk and I will tell you our slavery still continues because you did not address the root cause. Now, the reason why we have to discuss white supremacy is because white supremacy sits at the base of everything. It sits at the base. How does it sit at the base of everything? Because right now, I did mention, the education system we have right now is focused on giving us jobs, and the jobs are not there. Why are the jobs not there? Because our resources in Africa are exploited by someone else. If we do not have those resources, we're going to be poor for sure. Now, the system we are using as a whole, now let's look at the education system, the religious system, the economic system, the political system is not meant for Africa. It's not our own. It is a playing field made by some other people. In that sense, it means if we do not address that playing field and continue playing on it and expect to solve the issues within that field, you can't go anywhere. I can tell you this for a fact. That's why Africa is going to be poor for a very long time. And this is the truth. We're going to be poor and struggling and third world for a very long time because we address issues by, you want us to talk about child slavery coming from, let's say, Bungoma to rural parts of Ghana, coming to Accra, then flying to Europe or going to Saudi Arabia. You want us to address the issues with that. But if we do not, we can address that, yes. But the fact is, if we do not address, why did that child actually decide to leave the rural part of Ghana to go to Accra? If we don't address that issue, then we're just going to help a few girls here and there. And at the time when you're done working with this policeman in the UK, you go back to your country and child trafficking is still going on. So now the question is, why is this child leaving the rural area to go to Accra to be shipped to Saudi Arabia? That's the question. And it comes back to the fact that there is poverty. Now, why are we having so much poverty? It's because of the education system we've been told. We can't work on our lands anymore because the white person came and told us that this is primitive. You have to go to the town to work. You have to go to the industries to work. You have to go to the urban areas to work. If you cannot find work, they need to go to Europe. if you can't find a way going to Europe, you need to go to Saudi Arabia and be a house girl. Now, if that mentality, where did it come from? That's the question. It came from this white supremacy we're talking about.
That has got nothing to do with you explaining the white supremacy. That if a child if a child is being trafficked to Accra, or a child is being trafficked from a very rural area to the city, right? There are underlying problems, and the biggest of it is poverty. Why are these contributing factors to poverty?
And why are they poor? Why is there poverty? Why is poverty rampant in Africa and not anywhere else?
No, Ken, let me tell you something. Nema, you are shying away from the systematic oppression, and we will go there until we solve these issues. You have said that children are being programmed to like what are doing. This is part of the systematic oppression, and unless we address it, we are gonna go round and round, and we are not gonna solve. For this child to leave Nairobi to be enslaved in Ghana, it is because this child is running away from poverty. Why is this child running away from poverty while Africa is the richest continent in the world? Because there are people who are the highest bidder. Right now, you will go back to Ghana. You are not going to afford a land on the beach because the highest bidder already has that land. So he distracted you with his culture, his education. You left your land and he grabbed that which was in front of your eyes. And we need to address this.
Before Sheila goes, Sheila, just 1 second. Just let me make one minute. Let me connect this issue that Nema is asking to the issue of DEA. You mentioned DEA. Now, DEA is one of the head of...
Sorry, it's not Nema who mentioned DEA actually. It's
no. You mentioned DEA, but I want to connect the two issues. Now, DEA, Nema, background to DEA, there was a pastor or a preacher here in the UK who trafficked children from Kenya to the UK and currently serving jail time. Now, you mentioned DEA, you be a journalist. Now, you see where the problem is, Nema. Why did DEA bring children from Africa to Europe to enslave them here? If it's not white supremacy in the middle of it, because he came to Europe and realized, you know what, the systems here sounds much better, and our people back at home prefer the system here, however horrible they are. Yes?
Ken, this is my worry. And the reason, and I think we are saying the same thing, but maybe looking at it with different lenses, right? The pastor who trafficked those children from back home to Europe, right? There was no white man was pointing a gun to his head. That aside putting it, aside putting it there, we have cases. Listen, we have cases where children have been trafficked within UK and they have been abused just in the name of witchcraft. Just in the name of witchcraft.
He used the greatest weapon. The greatest weapon to enslave Black people in Africa was religion. That is what he used. So it still goes back to the systematic mental enslavement.
Okay, that was an interesting discussion.
Maybe we are not labeling it well. Maybe we are not labeling it well. We may have our own mental enslavement or mental slavery, or we not being able to get away from these kind of mental bondages. But after all these years, at this point in time, in this modern age, in the conversation that we are having, when we keep attributing the causes to white supremacy, I think we are losing the very basis of our conversation. I agree with you, but not entirely. When we keep saying white supremacy this, white supremacy that, the actual picture is there. The very people who are perpetrating these abuses to our children, to us in any way, is us, is our people. And most of them are using our culture. The pastors who are using witchcraft to abuse our children, then again, is some of these whites that we are saying, these systematic systems put in place that is jailing them at the end of the day. They are trying to find solution in legal terms to put these monsters away. So if we have the opportunity to have this bigger conversation and then call a spade, call a monster, and then we attribute it to people who did their wrong years and years ago, whether they enslaved us mentally, whether in whatever shape or form that we are having this conversation, we need to call a spade rather than giving these labels, I think.
Okay.
We are not. We are.
Thank you.
Nema, there is something that
Wait. Sasha, you need to actually. Sheila's been putting her hands up for such a long time.
Okay, fine.
And
No problem.
before even Sheila comes in, I just want to say thank you very much for people who are watching, and please continue sharing. Bashir, you need to share. Yeah, thank you, Miriam. You need to share. Thank you very much for watching. Someone said, just to read, it's unfortunate in Africa, the poor build expensive churches to pray for jobs. Yeah, coming back to religion. So I think there's so much of religion going on here. We have child prostitution at the Kenyan coast. Is the panel going to address that? And I think that question, I'll throw it to Sasha, because I saw this on her forum actually today. So we have child prostitution. So how are you going to address that? Someone says, as a staunch Christian, I love the comments, and I know most born again will hate me, but it is reality. God doesn't live in buildings, he lives in man's heart. So I think we should stop building those churches, and instead of building jobs or something better than that. Someone said, Joseph Anderson, thank you very much, Nema Ahmed. This is the most valid point on this program. Okay, and I was doing my master's degree in international tourism, and I learned through this about sex tourism. I realized the parents give them out to the tourists, which is sad. So it's the parents that give them out. Slavery is in the mind, and poverty can be laziness sometimes. So we should stop blaming the system. And who lets land get grabbed? Our mentality, no? Okay. And I agree with you, but I would rather address the question as youth teenage prostitution. One would definitely be due to poverty. These youths are forcefully pushed to go out and bring money back home. And okay, that's a long one as well. I am of the opinion that the slavery discussion needs to be researched and studied properly. This is a lot to be learned. I agree with the lady who just said that nobody put a gun on their heads. But again, greener pastures in the name of getting paid well is a modern way of putting a gun on someone's head. All right. Okay, thank you very much. But she wrote a very, very long text there, guys. I know you will go and read it. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Okay, now I'll go to Sheila, who had her hands up since yesterday. I always avoid Sheila because she talks, when she takes the mic, she's so passionate about what she's saying, and we're running out of time. Okay, Sheila, my darling.
Okay, what I would say, I would start by saying this. Naima does not understand white supremacy. I give courses on this in my life coaching school. Naima, I will add you in the course free. You do not understand white supremacy. White supremacy.
This is a personal attack.
Again, no, it's not personal. It's what is out here, yeah? White supremacy, like patriarchy. Patriarchy, let me give patriarchy, which again is a symptom of white supremacy. Patriarchy is things are favored they're skewed in favor of the man, yeah? Patriarchy can be fathered by both men and women. White supremacy, basically it is looking at things, is prioritizing the white way of looking at things, and the white privilege comes with a lot of things. It is not only fathered by white people. You do not even have to have a white person standing there with a gun for white supremacy to take place. You just have to go to the education system that tells you so-and-so discovered Mount Kenya, Vasco da Gama discovered Kenyans. An education system that tells you your name is beneath the name of a white person. A system, an education system that tells you your grandmother treating you with herbs is primitive, while the doctor who has learned allopathic medicine with a white coat, white lab, giving you pharmaceutical medication, is the one doing the things the correct way. When you're told, when you can't speak in English fluently, you're stupid. But whereas when you can speak in your language fluently, it means nothing. That is white supremacy. So let's get it very clear. White supremacy is a system. It is not white people standing there in a line with guns on the head telling people that all this and all that. No. So white system, white supremacy, one way is the mental slavery, which you mentioned, is the poverty, which you mentioned, is the self-genocide, which you mentioned. Self-genocide is when we have our girls being told that in Saudi Arabia, things are so bad, but you hate being in Africa so much that you want to get out. That is white supremacy. So get it very clear that white supremacy doesn't need to have a white man with a gun on their heads. No, it just has to have a system whereby you don't feel comfortable in your skin and you want things that belong to other people. The way you've mentioned as well about them looking at celebrities and feeling that, you know what, I want to look at the media. I want all those nice flashy things instead of looking at what, things in your environment. That is white supremacy. So white supremacy is not a white person standing there and matching people. No. Now, another mistake is to think that, oh, they did this a long time ago and it's finished. White supremacy was a software that was installed in the brains of people in the world. And it is still there, it's still in operation. It is still in operation, certainly in Africa. So there is nothing like it happened a long time ago. For as long as that we are here discussing slavery, white supremacy is happening. Now, another thing that frustrates me about Africans, our African people, is our African people getting tired fighting for us, fighting for our space. When our African people say, oh, I am tired of speaking about white supremacy all along, let me tell you, the authors of white supremacy are never tired. All these years counting, 400 years of slavery and more, because we're talking slavery now. It's changed the format, but it's still slavery. All this time we're counting, they are not tired. All these years of blacks being oppressed right now in 2020, today, January 2021, blacks are still being oppressed. The oppressors have not tired. But black people just start a little projects here and there for a few months, they start getting tired. Oh, don't mention these words. Oh, don't mention this, don't mention this. We are so tired when it comes to us talking about our emancipation, especially our mental emancipation. We get tired, extremely tired. But the people that are oppressing us never get tired. They always come with ways, up with ways of oppressing us as we are getting tired, even about a phrase. We're getting tired that this phrase, don't say it again. But the phrase is legit. It's legitimate. It's there. It's there. Even these people themselves know it's there because when you speak and you mention it, they understand it. But for us, we get so hit up about a phrase that will free us. And that again is a sign of white supremacy. Now, there is something called Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is whereby you put yourself in the company of your oppressor and you start thinking your oppressor is your team. And sometimes with Stockholm Syndrome, you start thinking people that are in your team are your enemies. So you start thinking your own people are your enemies and the oppressor are your friends, yeah? Happened in Stockholm after some people were held, they were held hostages. And then after a few days, it's a psychological thing. After a few days, they started now being very, very geared towards, they were now against the police. They are now made a friendship with the kidnappers. Stockholm Syndrome is part and parcel of our people. Our people, it's part of our trauma. We like associating with the oppressor. We like going there. Again, another symptom of white supremacy, trauma. So you find even our own people, especially some of us that want to emancipate, we want to associate, even in our own emancipation, we want to be included or we want to include our oppressors in it. So when we're having conversations where we are saying we have to reject everything from the oppressor and come up with our own way, we get very bothered and we want to say, no, let's not get the oppressor out. Let the oppressor be here. The oppressor did it a long time ago, but it's not happening now. Forget it. We become so heated because we cannot imagine just doing things on our own by ourselves. And Sasha mentioned something. She said one thing of that shows white supremacy, shows our problem, is the self-genocide. And the self-genocide is when you want to just kill yourself, harm, self-sabotage, harming yourself. And you don't need to have a gun on your head, physical gun in your head for you to start harming yourself. You just have to have a software problem that tells you are worthless, a software problem that tells you you're not worthy and your salvation comes from somewhere else. Now, the Reverend read a verse about ancestors in Lamentations. Now, the African ancestor is the one that seems to be always cast. Seems to be the one that, made mistakes and now cast. Let me tell you, the African ancestors have not harmed people as much as the ancestors of the white people. The white people have gone across the world and killed people, but you know what? They don't get punished. They are thriving right now as we speak. When we speak about white supremacy, the people that are winning and leading the world are the white people. Why aren't the white people paying the sins of their ancestors? Why are Africans always the ones paying sins of their ancestors? And here we are, so proud to talk about, oh, ancestors or ancestors paying the sins of our ancestors. Our ancestors are the only ones whose sins we pay, and other ancestors, their sins they don't pay for their people, they thrive.
Okay.
We have to stop
That is taken out of
blaming
context.
ourselves all the time.
Completely out of context. I
Okay.
said not to mean that African people are sinful to the extent that when they get saved, then they should change color. You call it caste, and I don't call any African caste. These are just generational patterns that can be broken by a forum like this. I hope the solutions we are talking about, if they are written down, even on a one page, I believe they can be very helpful. And if you have an opportunity. So I did not say I'm not from a sinful generation, but I need to make something clear. You can distance yourself from religion as much as you can, but at least if you're from Kenya in East Africa, I want you to know, statistically on record, 85%, 0.5 of Kenyans believe a lot more like me. So you can decide who you're going to cater for. Who are you educating? But I hear your point. We can, just because I like the interstate, I am a very good driver, by the way. And what I like about driving on a highway is that if you run that you have gone 2-6 miles past your exit, you can always make a U-turn and pick up the right direction. And I am very grateful that we have a GPS. So it does not help just because I'm on the highway and I have come to the United States of America that we should continue teaching the same things that we produce, the same things that we are denouncing to the next generation. We can always demand and make a change because we begin by being the change that we want ourselves. And that's why for once I said, I encourage young men to get into the education system because that's a major socializing agent in any community universally is education. Once you leave your home, the next place you're gonna go to, or you're going to go to, I'm from South Georgia, sometimes we say gonna go, the next place you're going to go to is school. When you come out of school, you are in your community. Your community includes the community of faith. Your community of faith could also be spiritual. It could be Buddhist, it could be Muslim, it could be any. I went to a school in Nairobi that had embraced everybody. Actually, we had all these, we had the Muslim society, the Hindu community, the Christian union, and you took your pick on Friday afternoon. So for me, I am speaking from a Christian perspective that has informed me. If someone wanna say it has corrupted me, I gladly say, I'll look into that. I am not going to argue with 85%, 0.5 of the Kenyan population. That's where we come from. I know, and as I said, we are even now using the language. That's not my mother's language. Had to make it Swahili. We are using English because it has unified us. I wonder if we can take the best out of a hard situation. I give you one last example and then I let you go. There's a church I like. I used to be a member when I was a kid. I'm no longer a member. It's called Presbyterian Church of East Africa. It has a motto called Jitegeme. And the reason I cite it is because now in 2021, although they still have the major doctrine from Scotland, Presbyterian Church or Protestant from Scotland, they broke away with the mother church to the extent that they can govern themselves. They can reach to their community at their level. They can minister to those orphanages. They can meet communities at their need. Instead of creating a larger and a larger church, maybe they can build a school. Maybe they can build a hospital. Those are the types of things I'm thinking might help us liberate us from Africa. About politics, I would say in Kenya, I have said this before. Why is even a president getting $100 million or $50 million a month for a salary if he has a population of 50 million people, including the boy and the girl that was born yesterday? How hard can it be to, if not eradicate poverty, alleviate so that people have at least nothing else, but security. Issues of food, clothing, and shelter are pertinent whether we are enslaved or not. And why people go to Saudi Arabia? I have had a family member in Qatar. He just went back to Kenya. He was there for 3 years because he could not get a job at home, and he got a good job. He's luckier. And I asked him about the situation of women. He said for women is very dangerous because you're going to work within the confinements of a home, an intimate setting that is not supposed to protect you, but will not. And so a lot of them are abused in search of greener pastures. I believe inherently we are created to want to travel. If boundaries were not elected in Kenya, my brothers from Somali, they are my brothers, and Ethiopia will be just crossing in and out. That's why some of the Somalis are in Kenya and some are in Somalia, because when there were no boundaries, we used to trade, we used to communicate, we used to intermarry, and we didn't used to fight as much as we do today. So, but I hear you, it's okay, I accept all these things. Because some of them are actually what happens. So I don't have a chip. If you don't accept my point, I'm okay with it because you're allowed to. Okay. But you're still my sister, and I like your passion. Thank you, Miss Lydia. We're doing a good job, I would say.
Okay, thank you much, Reverend. You cut me short. I had not even finished what I wanted to say. Anyway, I wanted to say, but you've answered, and I agree with you on many things. But let me now pick up a few things that you raised now. Before I pick out, I'll tell Naima, white supremacy is not an emotional issue as you alluded. White supremacy is a political issue. It is a systematic issue. It is a scientific issue as well. There's science around it. It's a psychological issue. It's everything. Don't reduce it to an emotional issue. But that aside, moving on swiftly. The Reverend mentioned about speed restrictions in America. In the same conversation, the Reverend, I'm sorry about your son. You mentioned about losing your son and the police not doing anything about it. But you mentioned that when speed restrictions happen, tickets come, people punish. In the UK, it's the same. If you go above the speed restrictions, you will get fine tickets, and you can even get points on your license, and you can end up having your license withdrawn. They are very quick. The capitalistic system is very quick to get these ways in which money can come, because traffic regulation, we have a traffic enforcer here with us, that they can tell you that money does come in that way. So, but you see, in that case, they find the person who's done wrong. The wrong here being that you went above the speed limit. So they're not going to say, oh, the road, encourages. They're not going to look at the road and say, oh, this road, it makes people go very fast. They're not going to look at, oh, it rains, it makes people go fast. They actually say, you know what? This person went very fast. The person is going to be punished. So the Reverend was talking about sex slavery amongst children between 3:30 and 8 p.m. So definitely there is someone having sex with his children. What is happening to these people having sex with the children? Are we only looking at the children and finding ways in which we can empower the children and safeguard them? Or are we also going after these sex traffickers because they are the biggest perpetrators? Are we going after them? Are we going after them and punishing them? Because that cannot be a deterrent. At the same time, when we punish them, incarcerate them, probably even castrate them, even kill them, if we do all these things and keep them away, we are solving the problem, aren't we? So sometimes when we look at the problems, let's not look at bits and pieces of it. Let's look at it holistically. It's like you have a chicken house and you have a fox that comes to eat the chicken. Do you just reinforce the chicken house and keep the chicken inside, never to get out? Or do you also deal with the fox? Do you get a gun and actually shoot the fox as well? Or do you just leave that? So we have to look at these things, as Ken said, a multifaceted approach. And as we look at multifaceted approach of it, we have to know what are the symptoms and what are the root causes. And also we have to know what are the distractions, because the way the white supremacy works, it comes with a lot of distractions. So sometimes we are kept busy, distracted, talking about other things while it is just taking root. So we also have to be very careful about the distractions, for they are many. And they look like we are doing things, but we are not doing things. We are actually being distracted. Thank you very much for having this conversation.
Hello, Sheila.
It is a very good thing. It makes us move forward. Thank you, people.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheila. I know Sasha wants to say something, and Ayub as well wants to say something because they have their hands up. But again, I'd just like to say thank you to all the viewers. The conversation today is so heated, and everybody is saying, yes, we need to have another. So the panelists, please, I want you back again sometimes, probably once a month, I would say, because this is, I don't know what to say. There's so many. Somebody say, leave the white people alone. and Africans, we are our own problems. I like the way everybody have their own different views, because it's not all centered into one direction, like either white supremacy or Africans. Everybody have their different view. Somebody said my workmates are from Accra, and most of them are doing witchcraft, and others are giving kids and selling it, because poverty, especially those in village, they have never gone to school, and that's why most of them don't have that understanding. So now there's some people here who are talking about the education system, and somebody else is saying, no, somebody needs to go to school to have it. So I like this. I like the controversial in this conversation, and yes, we need to have it more. So there's a lot of comments there, guys. So I think you have to go. This is my last comment. Africans must know this: Britain was colonized by the Romans. The Jews were enslaved by the Egyptians, but moved on. Why can't Africans do the same? Move on. And so there's a lot of conversation, powerful message from you. I am a white man from Kisumu. I don't believe in slavery. Okay. Okay, so there's so many different conversations there, guys. Thank you so much, Sheila, for answering most of them. And Ken as well, you're answering most of them as well. So keep on answering them, guys, and keep on with your suggestions and comments. And please keep on sharing as well. Evans, you need to share. Catherine Achieng, you need to share. Angela, my psychiatrist, yes, you need to share, not mine really, but a psychiatrist. You need to share before people think, oh, what's wrong with Lydia? Start calling me. Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to Sasha, who had a hands up since, and then I'll go to Mzee Ayub. Sasha, thank you.
Okay, so going after this conversation, I want to have a small meeting with Sheila. I think your awakening is on another frequency. I'm learning from you. Lydia knows me, I talk too much, but I'm listening to you so keenly. Your frequency is on another level. And speaking of which, you're saying we should remind Neema that it is not an emotional thing. You're right, Sheila, it is not emotional, it is the reality, and we're not going to shy away from the reality, because it is a mental programming that we were indoctrinated with since childhood. Malcolm X once said that are people who have been lied to all their lives. You have to give them the truth with small doses, like medicine, lest they come after you. So this is why I'm saying we need to educate ourselves about us. Like Sheila mentioned, unless a white man come and says that is Mount Kilimanjaro, our ancestors didn't know that was a mountain. Despite them going on top there to pray, because they used to pray facing trees, facing mountains. We don't know anything in this world. We don't know anything. Miriam Makeba once said, we don't know anything in this world until a white man comes and tells us, boom, that is a mountain. Boom, that is a Lake Victoria, you know? So we have been indoctrinated for so long. And I keep on saying we have to keep on educating ourselves. Reverend Wamboi, I like everything you're saying. I'm not gonna go to the door of religion, because religion and politics are very controversial, and it depends on where somebody is, because it's a self journey. It's a self journey. You self-educate yourselves about this. So I don't want to go so deeply into religion, because I know how heated it can go south in 1 minute. So I choose the platforms where I can speak about religion and politics. But I like what you mentioned. So this is what I'm going to tell you. Since I was a child, by the way, you're my namesake. My name is Wamboi also. My Kikuyu name is Wamboi. Since I was a child, my grandmother, every Sunday when we were going to school, to church, like she's always like, Mofea araugire, torute kamweredo. Those who do not know how to speak in Kikuyu, I'm saying the father said that we need to give this money. They call them jumuia. Or this Sunday you will be told they are building this, they are building that. I have not seen those things. We were laughing with one of my friends in the US the other day. She was telling me that she was screaming at her mom. The mom is always telling her, no, you need to send me $50. On Sunday we are contributing for this project. The next Sunday, we are contributing for this project. But we have not seen those projects. I am 40 years old. I have not seen those projects that my grandmother was promising me about the church since I was a child. So if we were putting this money somewhere and building black banks, black communities, black business, we would not even be here today speaking about the oppressors. We would not be here speaking about the oppressors. Neema also spoke about when she said that we need to stop speaking about the white supremacy. We are going to speak about it because it is our reality. What do I mean by that? I just said the years that I turned. Since I was a child, I have seen white people coming here in the name of funding. A lot of children who have been trafficked in Africa, a lot of children who are sexually molested. All this comes through funding. All these things come through funding, which is the biggest transformation, which is the biggest way of child trafficking. So we cannot brush these things away. And why are we being funded? Why are we being funded? All those years, all those promises, I have not seen those. Those NGOs are just there. Those NGOs are just there to blind people so that these people can come to our land, they come with an idea, we want to help children. The next thing they connect with the government. The next thing we want to build a project here, we want to build a school. The next minute they have our land. And as they have our land, what are they doing to us? They are teaching us to want that which is there in their land. And we reach there in their land with our education, which becomes nothing. We have to start from scratch. It doesn't matter if your parents sold their farm to educate you, and then they had to sell their farm again to take you to America. By the time you're coming back here home, those of you who are in the diaspora, if we continue with the way the system has been set, you will come back and find nothing. Your children cannot even afford to play on our beaches in our own land because those are privately owned beaches. My parting shot is that we need to educate ourselves about us. We need to find systems that work for us, and funding is not working for us. In fact, it is one of the worst oppression in Africa. So I think that's my parting shots.
Thank you. Thank you, Sasha. Okay, so I'll go to Mzee Ayub, please. He has his hands up.
First of all, I want to recognize and appreciate all the contributions that have been made. They are actually mind-boggling. But I want to throw back a question to you, which you can answer now or in the next session that is coming next week. Let's look at a scenario in East Africa, let me say Kenya or Uganda. Before people could get on planes, these young girls and young boys, and they end up in the Arabian Peninsula and they get exploited. And we all had sympathy for them, and we said, oh, these Arabs are bad guys, they are torturing our people. But now I think the torture has been legalized in a manner that you go into an agency office where they have a license to operate, they pay taxes to the government, and you pay money to these people, and they take you into slavery, Saudi Arabia, wherever it is. Now, the question I have for the audience who are listening to us and the panelists, whom do you blame for this? Is this the torturer, or it is ourselves to blame? Because that brings in the point that Sister Naima said about Naima Ahmed, about white supremacy. Don't you think we are just missing the point here? Who is responsible for modern slavery? It is now licensed in East Africa. My second point, there was when you were reading comments from the viewers, there was something about Tanzania. I would like to declare an interest that I am a Tanzanian national. I think both that makes you smile. I am a Tanzanian national. And when you have time, I will tell you to pass my ancestral home in Unguja. Now let's come back to the point. The point I'm bringing, why I'm bringing this conversation, I think it was the host, Sister Lydia Olet, brought in something. Somebody said something along the lines, Tanzanians being a little bit damp. They don't show up in places like other East African community members.
That was somebody on Facebook.
Yeah, I would like to shed a little bit of light on that. I was having an audience with the Tanzania Prime Minister, and because it was not a private conversation, it's on record, and I was like, what's going on? I've never been around seeing Tanzania businesses out of Tanzania, let me say in Kenya or in Uganda, and seeing Tanzania. We were discussing something along the lines that Kenya is the biggest employer in Tanzania. And the Prime Minister told me and said, Ayub, look here, I've just finished a meeting in Dar es Salaam. Big Tanzanian businesses, they are just complaining that we are letting in so many Kenyans to come and do business in Tanzania. And I was like, yeah, what are you trying to say? He says, I asked Tanzanian businessmen, I said, what is wrong? What is the problem? Why can't you go and start businesses also in Nairobi and no one will stop you because this is under the East African Community spirit? So I just wanted to bring that point for our viewers to get a taste of this and say that maybe there is something wrong with Tanzania somewhere out there where they don't want to leave their boundaries, their political boundaries. They always want to operate from home. And lastly, I would like to suggest to the host and members here who will discuss that in the group, whether we can try and twist the heading next time, the next conversation, to attract a new audience and to make more sense than this very topic, because otherwise it will be monotonous. I think we have reached a point whereby we are going to have what is called the law of diminishing returns in economics. I think the chief there of finance knows what I'm meaning. Let's twist the heading, keep the context, but twist the headline and say, next week we are going to discuss blah, 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 blah with a twist, so that it makes a new sense to the topic. That is all I wanted to say. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, now we are running out of time. We actually have just like 5 minutes left. And going back on Facebook again, I'm not going to read comments, to be honest, but I'm just going to say thank you very much, everybody who tuned in. And there's a lot of people with a lot of different ideas and ideologies there, which is good, because then it means that we are not just following as sheep, but we have our own mindset. Okay, so thank you very much. Keep on sharing, thank you, and still bring your comments in. So I'd just like to go back to my panelists and say just a big, big thank you for everybody who came today. A big thank you. Okay, I'm just changing this. Okay, thank you very much, Sheila, for today. Sheila is actually a coach, and the reason why I always say from the beginning for the introduction is not because, oh, she's a coach, so what? No, it's because if you're looking for somebody, if you're looking for a coach and probably you can't find one, you don't know how to, or you can't afford, because you can come and say, Sheila, I saw you on that program, give me a little discount, but don't ask things for free, because she needs to pay her own rent and she needs to feed her children. And if you're here to support, we are here to support each other as Black people. I always say support your people. Don't ask for freebies. That's not helping or supporting your sister or brother. Asking for free, but you can ask for discount and tell her you saw her on this platform, so she'll give you a discount. And we also have Sasha as well, who has is he a motel, Sasha, or restaurant in she has a hotel. Spa. Oh, she has a spa in Zanzibar. So if you're there, Zanzibar, right? Zanzibar is in Tanzania. Yes. So if you're passing by, if you're anywhere around Africa, or you're in Tanzania, or you just want to go and visit, go to Sasha. I've seen what she does. It's very good. I'm actually waiting for this stupid COVID to go away, so I go and visit Sasha. And again, like I say, you can ask for discount, but do not ask for freebies, because I will not even encourage that. And then, so thank you, Sasha, as well for coming. And I also want to say thank you to Walter. Okay, I've muted that. And I also want to say thank you to Walter. Actually, I'm not going to talk about what Walter does, because I don't want you, if you've had a ticket in London, you start looking for him and say, so you are the man who gave me the ticket. He doesn't actually give tickets, but he can help. So he's into transportation in the UK. So thank you very much, Walter. If you have a problem with your car or something, guys, you can contact Walter. So thank you, Walter, for tuning in. I also want to say thank you very much for Reverend all the way from USA, Obama's land, Reverend Wamboy. And Reverend is actually here representing One Voice. There's an organization in America. It's based in America, but it's actually captured everywhere in everybody in the world. Because what we are trying to do, I'm actually part of the world One Voice. What we are trying to do is bring Africans under diaspora, not just Africans, diaspora under one umbrella. So that because there's so many things to discuss, like even this topic that we are discussing today, if we want to go ahead and speak to somebody from the top, if everybody is going, this person is going, Sasha is going by herself, Sheila, Walter, they're not going to listen to us. But if we have one body and that body goes and represents us, then they might listen to us. So we have One Voice, is based in America. So One Voice is bringing all the Africans, all the diaspora together. It's not a Kenyan thing, it's an African thing. Okay, so thank you so much, Reverend, for representing One Voice today. And I also want to say thank you, and it's a One Voice Consortium. Yes, that's how it's called. And I also want to say thank you for our journalist, Mzee Ayub, who, if you go and check him out, he has actually interviewed, when we say big people, big names, big people, big names. And that is why I was so interested as well in having him in this program, because I know that he has penetrated deep in Africa, helping slavery, trafficking, cheap labor. He has done all that. So he's a journalist by profession. So thank you very much, Mzee Ayub, as well. And I also want to say thank you to our governor, Ken. I know now people have stopped asking which governor, because every time he comes, we say, governor, governor. So they're now waiting to see what will this governor change really? What will this governor do that the other governors have not done? Because they always say, you know, politics, they talk sweet, they give you sugar, but when you enter, they start giving you salt and vinegar. So we want to see if this our governor will still continue giving us the sugar that he's giving us right now. They say if you can't beat them, join them. So if you join that system and you feel like you cannot beat them, please don't ever join them. Remember where you come from. And also I want to say a very special thank you to Nema, who is actually, I've known Nema for such a long time, and we've done a lot of different programs with Nema. And thank you so much, Nema, for joining us. And Nema actually works with BME, Anti-Slavery Network in the UK. And sometimes she also helps the police. No, you know, when we say police, people always say, hey, she's a snitch. She's a snitch. No. It's not that snitch. She's not a snitch. She actually helps in a good way. Because even my children, they don't like that. They say, they call them, what do they call them? They don't call them police. They call them, there's a name they've given them. So, but this is not, Nema doesn't do that. She actually helps, okay? So thank you very much, all the panelists, for joining me today. And somebody, I haven't, Tema and told. Okay, that's it. It's what, you know, these Tanzanians, they can speak deep Swahili and I don't even understand what they say. So thank you very much. And I also want to say thank you for viewers. Thank you very much. Wow, we've been here for 2 hours. And I know somebody said 2 hours is long, but sometimes someone tells me, Lydia, you need to do more than this. And actually one of my friends just told me that she's been blocked on Facebook right now because of her comments, because she was commenting too many times, too many things. So she's been blocked on Facebook. Like we know our Sasha always gets blocked every time. So I've been blocked for 3 months once upon a time, and I learned my lesson. So I try to be nice for Facebook so they don't block me. But even if they block me, my life continues because my life is not entangled around Facebook. I will still survive. So because that's what they want us to know again, mind, that without Facebook, you'll die. Nah, you live. So thank you very much. Again, happy 2021. I say here year of prosperity, success, focus, goals reached, health restored, healing both physically, spiritually, economically, financially, and mentally, because that is where it all starts, mentally, mental healing. So thank you very much. And also to say about COVID, guys, I can never go without talking about COVID. COVID is real. Right now in the UK, we are on lockdown. We're on something called tier 4. Some people are in tier 5, and that means that you're not supposed to go out. You're not supposed to do this. So please, guys, wash your hands, social distancing, eat healthy, drink plenty of fluids as well, and exercise as well. Use your sanitizer. Every time you're going out, please carry your sanitizer. And even if you're talking to somebody and they think, and use your mask. Oh, thank you, Sasha, for that. Use your mask. Always have your mask. And if you're talking to someone and your distance, like yesterday I met with Walter and we were like this. So if they want to say you're madarau, Kiswahili, you're madarau in English, how do you say that? Or in English, disrespect, whatever. Don't care what they're saying. Social distance, wash your hands, mask, and sanitize. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow.
Walter,
Actually,
Walter wants to say
tomorrow.
something.
Okay, go on.
Walter.
Thank you, everybody. I was challenged to say why people can have 6 wives and they're poor. Our African traditions allow us
Whoa,
to have
okay.
polygamous families. And in Islam is another thing. I'm not Islamic, so I don't know. In the Bible, they have people, Solomon, who married Reverend can guide us. What I can say is that that was our culture. It's not something wrong. It's something that was allowed.
Okay.
Right? For the right reasons. Just as to wind up, I can say we talked about white supremacy. We talked about so many things, which was very moving. Just to say that education is not bad. And our communities need to encourage vocational education systems to empower our youth in other areas. We're not saying degrees are bad or anything else, no. And when it comes to the church, I say the church is not bad and the ideologies are not bad in there, but they're there. The church, and if I say the church, let me talk of even the mosques and our community leaders, they're there to empower the youth. They're there, they're the grassroots people that we need on the ground to bring youth empowerment. And from the youth empowerment, we can stop all these other issues of trafficking and everything else that's happening. When you talk of trafficking, going to what Neema said, when it comes to trafficking going on in the trafficking world, the people who can stop this are people like our sister Zanzibar, Shashona, because there is a demand for this product. When I say product of like sexual, exotic sex from the people from the foreign world, right? They want to explore things and they don't want to explore with their own people. They want to get other people to do it. So this demand has to be stopped. We talked about laws of diminishing demands. Briefly, laws of diminishing demands is like once you've drunk so much water, you cannot drink anymore. So our root cause, our governments, our people have to stop this and stop it from the basis. We talked about poverty. Poverty is there, but we can eradicate this poverty having our processing plant, which I spoke about last time, having these raw materials to stay within Africa, and they come out as a finished product. Let me end there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Lydia,
Like
can
I
I
was
briefly
saying,
say something, please?
yes, I was, I was going to give everybody a 1-minute remark to finish. So Walter has done his. So before we finish, I was going to finish mine and then I'll let everybody else have a 1-minute remark. So just to say thank you once again to all the people who are watching. And we are here again tomorrow. And tomorrow we are talking about sanitary towels. Tomorrow we're talking about women. So if you're a woman, tomorrow, you cannot miss this, because we have a lady who committed suicide in Kenya, a little girl, actually, she was, I think, 14 or 15, and it's because of a woman, because the girl had periods and her dress there was blood everywhere. And this woman took it upon herself. And it's not just a woman, it's a teacher. In fact, a teacher, I shouldn't say woman, a teacher took it upon herself to embarrass her and disgrace her in front of her peers, the other students. So because of that, she felt really bad. She committed suicide. So tomorrow we are back here for that topic. So men as well, I know sometimes they say men are oblivious in this topic, but actually they're not. Because it took a man to walk in Kenya from Nakuru to, I think, Nakuru to somewhere, we'll find out. It took a man, it took it upon himself to walk for little girls so that they can be free. So men are not really oblivious when it comes to this, but women, tomorrow we are here for you guys. So before I say my goodbyes, I would like to give opportunity to all my panelists, just 1 minute to say something. Nema, I want you to go last, so it's okay. So I'll start with Sheila. Sheila, 1 minute, please, not more than that.
Thank you people very much for having this conversation. It's very important to have conversations like this. In life coaching, we say, before you heal any trauma you carry, before you actually make any progress in your growth and in your healing, you have to speak. And you have to learn to speak in this uncomfortable discussion. So we are healing as a collective, we are healing as a people, and it's very important to have conversations like this. And it's not in vain. It's great to have conversations like this, and we are a family. So we may have different opinions, we may have different standpoints, but if we seek harmony and we know we are working towards that common goal, it is good to have conversations like this. It is to have everything. It is good also to get emotions. Now, the other thing we have to know that emotions is just energy in motion, and there is nothing that happens in this world that is devoid of emotion. So we also, as a people, we have to be in touch with our emotions, knowing that the emotions play a role. They make us human. They make us feel, and to feel is to be alive. So as a people, I say we are making good progress as a people, having these conversations. Thank you, Lydia, for the platform. Thank you, my panelists. And until we meet next time, all the best.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll go to Ken Ouko, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lydia. I believe that we've made progress even though we disagree. I think it's normal to disagree. We can't have a conversation or a platform where we don't disagree. So the disagreements will lead us to an agreement at some point. So let's just continue having the conversations. At the end of the day, it's us to come up with solutions for these problems we're having. Otherwise, thank you, everyone. And till next time, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll go to Sasha, please. Sasha? Sasha, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I was muted, sorry. So yeah, I want to thank everyone who joined us. I want to thank the panelists. I'm very grateful to learn from each and every one of you, because the world would be so boring if we all thought the same, if we all reasoned the same. So I like it that we are different, and through disagreeing and agreeing, that's how we come to a common goal. And I know in the future, our common goal will be to come for solutions. So I hope next time when we meet, we are coming back as a panel with a few solutions. And thank you very much, Nema, for what you're doing for with the police there in the UK. We really appreciate everything that you're talking about. It's only that we are getting each other from a different dimension, which is okay, because that's how we learn from each other. I want to thank the Reverend also, Ayub, Ken, everybody. So I hope that the viewers are also going to help us with what they think about, so that we can talk to them later when the show is finished. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Sasha. Okay, so I'll go to Mzee Ayub, please. Your last remarks, closing remarks. Yeah. Okay, Mzee Ayub. I think we lost him. Okay, we've lost Mzee Ayub. Okay, so I'll go to Reverend, please.
Thank you very much. It was my first time. I love your energy. I actually think it's great to bring different perspectives to make a whole, because just one viewpoint won't do because of all the dynamics that we have. And I encourage, I hold that dear, that the home has the greatest influence on the character of mankind. And if we start at home, we must also mind the socializing agents where we are sending our children to school, to church, and especially here in the US, recreational activities are also great. And please, let's provide that supervision and give our children that 24-hour coverage. You must always know who, where, what, when. Place young people and children in the hands of responsible adults you can count on. I will highlight and emphasize sex trafficking in any form, economic, spiritually, socially, is a crime that should be punishable by law. Underline that. I'm a mandated reporter in the USA, and so therefore it's hard for me to watch anything about young people and keep quiet, because it's either they go to jail or I go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. I'm old now. I want to finish life with dignity. Thank you very much, everyone. I feel that I'm better off now than when I joined you. Thank you so much, Lydia. This is awesome. Keep it up. Essie, I'll give you the hat.
Oh, thank you very much. I love that love there. Okay, so I'll go to our special guest of today, and that's Nema. Please.
Thank you so much, Lydia, and thank you to all the panelists and then our viewers. I think it's very true that we disagree to agree to a greater extent, and I think that's what we've exhibited today. In the future, at least with our divergent views, we will be able to come to a collective solution for everyone. But what is very, very dear to me, especially for those who are viewing us right now, if anyone who is going through trafficking, or anyone who knows any child that is being trafficked or going through any kind of abuse, there is solution out there. There is help out there. And we should be each other's keeper. Because the kind of trauma that a child who is trafficked goes through, it doesn't stick with a person within a year. Sometimes it stays with them for years and years to come. So we need to be each other's keeper. And child trafficking, sorry, I do have an assistant with me. So
yes, that's fine. We love children, that's fine.
So it's not just trafficking. If you know someone who is being groomed for organ harvesting, someone who is being forced into begging, I think in our communities we have children that are forced into begging, and then we do have domestic servitude, labor exploitation, criminal exploitation. All these come into a bigger picture. We need to look out for these children. We need to look out for these signs. Such children sometimes get withdrawn, they don't talk, they don't express themselves. So if you are watching us right now, be a trustworthy person for a child to be able to confide in you at any point in time. Be that big brother, be that big sister, big auntie, so that we will be able to protect our children at any point in time. Because the future is not for us, it's for them. If they get traumatized now, our future is traumatized. We are not getting any better future to look up to. So thank you, everyone. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to have a better divergent and a more realistic view of what white supremacy is. And I love you so much, Sasha, Sheila. No matter what your views are, so much love to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, just before I go, I'd just like to say from Frank O.J., Ken has to change when elected as a governor. The office is systematically designed to change people. that salary talks. Money is evil and no respectant of men or a woman. So I just had to say that to Ken, our governor.
Point taken,
Okay.
point taken.
Point taken. I hope you had that. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, our Facebook viewers. Thank you, the panelists. And thank you to me as well. Shouldn't forget to say thank you to me. All right. Thank you. Mwah. See you tomorrow.
At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.